ليلهم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، ليلهم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة. نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح. ليلهم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، ليلهم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة. ونحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that this event is held primarily in Borlu on sovereign Wajak Noongar Boja. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and to First Nations people across the continent of so-called Australia. Gedamna Sabah Cultural Forum, as a group of settler refugees, extends our solidarity to First Nations people across this continent and across the world, and acknowledges that the systems which allow us relative safety here in so-called Australia are the same ones which create oppression and dispossession in this settler colony. We recognize that sovereignty was never ceded. This is and always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Gedamna Sabah Cultural Forum is concerned with creative and cultural work and the edification of its intersections with civil political resistance. This forum is committed to human rights issues and the effective role of the arts in political and social change. This event we're holding today, during International Human Rights Day, is to raise awareness of the situation in Sudan and to practice active and radical solidarity. Today, you'll hear from poets across the world as they share their poems for Sudan. But Sudan is not the only place that's facing atrocities. So we would like to acknowledge all of the genocides, seen and unseen, everything that our siblings are experiencing across the world, whether it's in Chad or Palestine, and we would like to pay our respects and extend our solidarity. Today, you'll be hearing from fabulous poets and artists from around the world. Our next speaker is Mr. Jerry at desewo, a writer, theatre producer, director, and cultural administrator. He's the founder and artistic director of Rogers Royal Theatre, a private theatre outfit in Nigeria, and which has become a household on account of his creative outputs. As a cultural journalist, he has written for Next Newspaper, The Guardian, Daily Trust, National Mirror, amongst others. And his theatre company is currently staging the first ever Ajuba International Theatre Festival. Well, staged the first ever International Theatre Festival in Ajuba between October 31st and November 5th of this year. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. All right. So thank you for this very great opportunity. My apology to start with. I guess I lost my sense of timing. I was waiting for 7 p.m. until I got the prompt, only to discover it's 7 p.m. Australia and not 7 p.m. Nigeria. I mean, it's been so great listening to the earlier performances, especially the last one, and I think that was quite interesting. I mean, I must have missed Vivian. Well, maybe I should just let my poem, do the talking. I did this poem actually sometime in October after the project by Vivian, where I helped to translate the poem she made into Yoruba, and had a Yoruba performance of that poem. So that inspired me to also do something, which is the poem I am going to share with you now. If you ask me, I would not name myself a poet. I would just simply say I am a theater maker, but of course, I do write poetry myself. And so I'm going to start this with a song you might not understand, but it will just be the baseline, for what I am going to talk about in the poem. And that song is Yoruba. So that's why I said you might not understand it. It's a Yoruba song. I will tell you what it means, and I will try again to sing it as best as I can do in a cappella, and that is without instrumentation. And that song simply says, Igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro no mi duro ki ma ṣubú. Igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro no mi duro ki ma ṣubú. And then I'll go into the poem. I'll tell you what the song means later. And the poem is titled Echoes of Hope, When the Sun Goes Down. In Sudan's heart, where the Nile's embrace once cradled dreams, I found myself amidst a nation's struggle. Ancient wisdom echoed in the air, weaving a tapestry of cultures now entwined in the turmoil of our present reality. Beneath the vast expanse of azure sky, I witnessed the fragmentation of unity, a bond now shattered by the harsh ants of strife. The haunting cries of anguish reverberated through the land, a symphony of pain that echoed humanity's collective mourning. My Sudan, once proud and noble, carried a history too profound for its current state. Innocence lay broken and the promise of peace seemed elusive. In the desert's veins, courage paused, a heartbeat drowned out by the shadows, claiming many a heart. As I stood beneath the warmth of the sun, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the nation's tears. Children wept for a time when tranquility was not a distant memory. Through the tumultuous waves of strife, I took my stand, holding on to the belief that unity and love would reclaim that very essence of our land. The world bore witness to Sudan's plea, a desperate call for peace, justice, and a restoration of our shared humanity. Amidst the ruins of despair, solidarity emerged as a guiding light, a silent but powerful force where empathy became our common language. In the midst of the haunting experience, where the freedom song seemed muffled by the winds of change, I found solace in Sudan's resilient spirit. Each wounded soul became a testament to our collective strength. In unity and empathy, I believed, humanity would find its way back, and the land would once again resonate with the echoes of hope. Igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro, igi gogoro no mi duro ki ma ṣubú. That's my submission. And the song itself simply says, "Tall tree, uphold me, let me fall not." And I think that is the plea of everyone that matters for the situation in Sudan today, and maybe Sudan as to connect with every other places where there is crisis in Africa and maybe around the world. It behoves on us, to raise our voices, to make the noise, to stand in solidarity with the innocent life, especially that are at the receiving end of this many crises and the situation that we find ourselves today. And so that's my plea, to all who matters in Sudan, whether in Sudan or outside of Sudan, but that have some kind of heritage or roots to Sudan, because we must all let our voices be heard. We might not have the political power, but of course we have the voice, to make this call and to ensure that Sudan regains its, its old self as that heritage of wisdom, as that heritage of a lot of, of African heritage, which has been plundered by the war and the crisis that is currently on board. Thank you for this opportunity, and here I stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such an incredible poem, and for sharing it in your language as well. It really resonates, and your point about solidarity both within Africa and internationally absolutely is absolutely valid. I think it was the great Audre Lorde who said, when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcome, but when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it's better to speak. And yeah, I know that that's not the complete quote, but yeah, I think it is always better to speak and always better to share through poetry.
ليلوم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، ليلوم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، ليلوم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، ليلوم الخوف والكوابيس والخيانة، ونحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح، نحنا قدامنا الصباح.